So a very warm welcome to this 8-week program, which is designed to help you create greater happiness and fulfillment. And this week's classes, 4 recorded classes, will just be an introduction into the program, and where we can begin to kind of set or reaffirm the idea that happiness is not a destination. It's not something that we will arrive at a particular time. It is not something outside of ourselves, and there are lots of things that we can do to actually cultivate that deep sense of happiness within. And really to remember that the responsibility of our happiness sits firmly with ourselves. And for me, this started when I felt that I could break free from those limiting thoughts and feelings, and not letting them hold me back. So I'm hoping to share lots of this with you over the coming weeks. This class will be what I call a sunrise class, so a 45-minute flowing practice, give you lots of options in case you need it today. But no particular props you shouldn't need. Maybe a brick, if you have one, can be useful. But we'll start lying down onto our backs. So come to lie down. We're going to start with the soles of the feet together. Allow the feet to be wide, the knees to be wide, soles of the feet, the outsides of the feet on the mat. And you could have pillows either side of the knees if you feel that this is quite a strong opening for the pelvis. You might come into cactus arms, so elbows in line with the shoulders, or you might just keep the hands on the belly, on the heart, or away from the body. So settle yourself in. Take some longer, deeper breaths. And each time you exhale, just feel yourself resting down into the earth. Letting yourself go here, letting yourself come into this space, into your body, and just onto your mat. So through this course, I'm hoping that we can create a space where we can explore what happiness means to us, and how we can invite in more pleasure and peace and acceptance, more compassion and gratitude and joy, and to live with that kind of greater connection to ourselves as well as the people in our lives, to have a sense of wonder for the world, and also tap into our creativity and our purpose. And often in today's culture, our busyness is almost worn as a badge of honor. And it's all too easy to tell ourselves we don't have time for our yoga practice or for our personal growth. And so many of us kind of walk through our days almost in a trance of busyness, just rushing from one thing to the next, kind of rarely experiencing the beauty and the richness of life. And we might feel that, like, at the end of the day, there's almost like this ache in our bones, or an unsettling, that there's something more to life. Maybe not really knowing what that is, and not really knowing how we can access it. But what I have found is through presence and through my practice, I can, on a daily basis, cultivate this deep sense of happiness. And it feels to me that this is actually what our life's work should be about. Creating true, deep fulfillment within. So this is what we'll explore today. So just taking some time, feeling yourself resting on the earth. And then another nice long deep breath in. And as you exhale, release the hands to the outsides of the legs to draw the knees back in, draw the knees into the chest, perhaps have a circle through the knees, or just pausing if that would actually feel better for your body today. And if you're circling, circle in the other direction. And then we'll bring the hands to the backs of the thighs and roll and rock on the length of the spine. And obviously if that doesn't feel good for you, then you can just roll over to one side so that you can come back up. Do what feels right. Maybe a couple of times, little massage through the back of the body. And the next time that you come up, is it possible to stand all the way up onto the feet? And if it is, you might then sit back down, roll onto your back again, feet over the head. And if not, just take your time to come back up to standing. And then we'll bring the feet hip distance, feet parallel, hands into prayer at the heart center. And just settling down into the feet. Perhaps a little bit of pressure through the outsides of the feet into the big toes. Draw belly in, lengthen tailbone. And you might just take a moment here to set an intention or a sankalpa for your practice, or even for this 8-week course. Perhaps to call on your curiosity and your insight and that deep knowing that rests within. Having the intention to just be present each time you come to your mat and take from your practice and from these classes what is right for you, and just leaving the rest. And then take another nice long deep breath in. And as you exhale, release the hands beside the body. And then as you inhale, reach the hands up to the top. And as you exhale, fold from the hips, come all the way down. Release the hands, release the head. Take an inhale for your half lift, so that might be hands onto the shins or the ankles or fingertips on the mat. And as you exhale, fold in over the legs. We'll step back left leg, then right leg into your plank or your tabletop. Take an inhale there. And as you exhale, crown of the head comes forward, knees, chest, chin, belly connected, hands under the shoulders, and then inhale to your cobra. And then exhale to travel back to your down dog. And in your down dog, perhaps just having a little pedal out through the legs, spread the fingertips, easing out any tension, and just knowing that you can really take your time. Don't have to rush through these poses, not wondering what's next, rather just being with what is happening in that pose, in that moment. And then pausing in your down dog, inhale, lift the pelvis. And as you exhale, soften the heels towards the mat, press into the hands. And just see if you need to allow the knees to draw out to the sides ever so slightly. And then as you inhale, raise the right leg, so lifting that up into the air. Stay pressed through the heel. And as you exhale, send the left heel towards the mat. Take another inhale, lift that right foot a little bit higher, and then as you exhale, we're going to sweep that foot forward in between the two hands and drop the left knee. So pad out that knee if you need to, and then inhale to sweep into your low lunge. And then as you exhale, draw the belly in and lengthen the tailbone. Take another inhale, reach and lengthen. And then as you exhale, we'll reach that left hand down and bring the right hand up into the air. So it becomes a little bit of a twist as you press the left hand into the mat, open up through the shoulder on that right side. Just check in with the right knee, draw it into the midline of the body or in line with the hip. Opening up through that side, then take another inhale. And as you exhale, bring that right hand on the inside of the leg. You might want to walk that right foot slightly out to the side, giving you space for the shoulders. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, a little bend into the elbows as you kind of sink the chin down towards the mat. Might not be far. Probably feel that into groin area, into the inner thigh. And then inhale to come back up. And as you exhale, step the right leg back, either to your plank or your tabletop. Take an inhale and exhale, move through your vinyasa. So if at any point you want to skip some of these vinyasas, absolutely feel free to do that. You don't need to do them all. Just how many is going to be right for the energy that you have today. And then once back in your down dog, take an inhale, lift the left leg, press through the heel, and then as you exhale, right heel sinks down towards the mat. And another inhale, see if you can lift that left foot just a little bit higher. And then as you exhale, bringing the foot forward, dropping the right knee down, left knee over ankle, inhaling to sweep to your low lunge. And as you exhale, drawing belly in, lengthening tailbone. Take an inhale, reaching and lengthening through the fingertips. And then as you exhale, the right hand comes down, lift that left hand up. Just make sure that left knee doesn't come out to the side, keep it drawn in line with the hip. And a long inhale to reach that left hand up. Press into the right hand. And then as you exhale, the left hand comes down on the inside. Just move that foot out slightly to the side so you've got space for the shoulders. Take an inhale there. And then as you exhale, bending into the elbows, sinking into that hip, perhaps a little bit more, but only to where is right. Take your time, be gentle with the body. And then inhale to come back up. And again, you're stepping back, vinyasa, or just pause in your child's pose or your down dog. And then we'll all just pause for maybe 4 or 5 breaths here, just really settle into that. And when we think about happiness, what does that actually mean? So throughout history and really the globe, people have searched for happiness. All sorts of wisdom leaders and poets, philosophers, neuroscientists, psychologists have been really curious about what it means to be happy. And there seems to be kind of one golden thread, if you like, that comes from all of the approaches and perspectives on happiness. And that is that happiness comes from presence, from awareness, from being in the moment and accepting the moment just as it is. So from your down dog, when you're ready, gaze forward, take an inhale, step the left foot forward, then the right leg. Find your half lift, and then exhale, fold in over the legs. Take an inhale to come all the way back up to stand, reach up through the fingertips, and then as you exhale, bring the hands back down into the heart space. So we'll do that again, and we'll just take out some of the breaths, some of the pausing, and we'll flow through it a little bit more. So as you inhale, reach the hands all the way up. And as you exhale, fold from the hips, come all the way back down. Inhale for your half lift, and then as you exhale, step right leg, left leg, plank or your tabletop. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, crown of the head comes forward, knees, chest, chin all the way down. Inhale to your cobra, press the tops of the feet into the mat, keep the elbows in, and as you exhale, travel back. In your down dog, inhale, lift the right leg, press through the heel, lift and lengthen, and as you exhale, left heel to mat. Inhale, lift, and then exhale, bring the foot forward, drop the left knee. Inhale to sweep into that lunge. And then exhale, the left hand to the mat. Inhale to lift the right hand up. And exhale to bring the hand on the inside of that leg, moving the foot out to the side. Take an inhale there. And as you exhale, bend into the elbows and sink down. Inhale to come back up. And exhale, step back. You can travel through a vinyasa or you can simply go back to down dog. Take your time, whichever you choose. And then once in your down dog, take an inhale, lift the left leg, press through the heel, exhale, right heel to mat. Another big inhale and then exhale the foot forward. Drop the right knee. Inhale to your lunge. And exhale the right hand down. Make sure that knee doesn't splay out to the side. As you inhale, open the left side of the chest. And exhale the left hand on the inside. Make space for the shoulder. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend into the elbows, sinking into that. Inhale back up. And again, exhale, travel back through your vinyasa. Or just simply down dog. And then once in your down dog, gazing forward, take an inhale, step or hop the feet to the top of the mat. Find your half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs. You might start to take the hands to the backs of the legs as you warm up. And then inhale all the way up to the top. And then exhale the hands down into the heart space. Take a long deep breath in here. And a deep breath out. And then inhale, reach the hands all the way up. And then again exhaling, folding all the way back through. Release the hands, release the head. Inhale for your half lift. And exhale, left leg, then right leg, either your plank or your tabletop. Take an inhale. And then exhale, crown of the head forward, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to your cobra. And exhale, travel back, down dog. Inhale, lift right leg. Left heel to the mat, and this time bend the right knee and open up through the hip. Take an inhale there. And as you exhale, sweep the foot forward. We're going to stay high on that left knee, so coming into a high lunge. Inhale, reaching the hands up. And as you exhale, draw belly in. You might bend into that left leg a little to create that neutral pelvis for you. And then sink down into that, sending the left heel towards the mat again. And then inhale, reach up through the fingertips. And then as you exhale, we're going to release the hands on the inside of the leg. The right foot might need to go out to the side a little. You're pressing back through that left heel. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bend into the elbows. So the elbows are staying in line with the body. They're not going out to the side. And you're just dipping down into the hips where feels right. Inhale to come back up. And then we're going to exhale, walk the hands to the middle of the mat. So as you do that, you're turning the feet. And you're basically coming round to that left foot. So the right heel is lifted. Take an inhale. Shoulders over wrists. And as you exhale, bend into the elbows, sinking down into that. Inhale to lift back up. And then exhale, walking yourself back round to the right foot. Hands either side of the foot this time. Left heel is still lifted. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, straightening that right leg. Keeping the toes on the mat, forehead towards knee or maybe shin. Inhale to come forward. Plant the hands down, vinyasa, or just pausing in your down dog. So take your time with those vinyasas. Really make sure the core is engaged. There's no issues in the lower back, no issues in the shoulders. And then from your down dog, inhale, lift the left leg. Right heel to the mat, bend into that left knee this time, opening up through the hip. Take an inhale. And then exhale, the foot comes forward. Staying lifted on the right knee. Inhale to come into your high lunge. Just pay attention to how that feels in the belly, in the lower back. I like to bend into the right knee a little, find that position, and then inch that right heel towards the mat. Sink down into that left leg. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're releasing the hands on the inside. Make space for the shoulders. You might even reach that right leg back a little bit more. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, bending into the elbows, sinking down towards the earth. It doesn't need to be a lot. It might just be an inch or two. Inhale back up. And then you're walking to the center. And then over to the right leg. Inhaling there, so the shoulders stacking over the wrists. And as you exhale, bend the elbows. Sink into that. Inhale back up. And exhale, walking your way back to the left leg. Back to that runner's lunge. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, straightening that left leg. Hands either side of the foot. Sorry, should have said that. Just creates a little bit more traction over that leg. And then inhale to come forward. Hands down, step back, vinyasa, or just pausing. Choose which is right. And then taking some breaths, either in your down dog or your child's pose. So what we find is what is often holding us back from that kind of enduring happiness and fulfillment is our limiting thoughts. So regardless of our age or life experience or gender or circumstances in life, we all have these thoughts that limit us. We all have thoughts that make us feel unsure about ourselves, and what that can mean, it will close us off to other people. We will shy away from opportunities and experiences. And it's worth knowing and remembering that this is just a part of being human. So from your down dog, take an inhale to step, or maybe hop the feet to the top of the mat, half lift. Exhale, fold in over the legs. We're going to come to our chair pose, so either feet together or feet hip distance. So inhale to sweep the arms up, sitting back into the heels. Weight back, belly draws in, you're reaching the hands up. Take another big inhale. And then as you exhale, fold all the way back through. Inhale for your half lift. You might now find that you can just have fingertips on the mat. And then step back with the left leg, and we're going to bring the outside of that foot onto the mat. Bending into the right. We're going to inhale, sweep the arms forward and up into warrior one. Exhale, connect in through belly. Lower back long. Take an inhale, reach and lengthen. And as you exhale, we're going to bring the left elbow over the right. So eagle arms, if that feels right for you today, or just take the shoulders. If you're in your eagle arms, lift the elbows a little and maybe draw the hands away from the head. So it just depends how that feels in the shoulders. If they're tight today, just go a little bit softer. Could just keep hold of the shoulders as well. Long deep breaths, bending into that right leg, perhaps tiny bit further. Connecting in here. And then we're going to inhale, reach the hands all the way up to the top. We're going to step forward into that right leg, into warrior three. So we're lifting that left leg behind, press through the heel. So you're reaching through the fingertips, through the sole of the foot, and then bending from the hips. Keep drawing up through the standing leg, not really worrying how far you go. Rather just finding a place where you can balance. And if you can turn the left toes to the midline of the body, you might find that left hip drops. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, step the left toes to the back of the mat, bending into the right leg. Reach the hands back down. Vinyasa or pausing. So choose which would be right for you on that side. And then from your down dog, gazing forward, Inhale, step, hop the feet to the top of the mat, half lift. Exhale, fold in over the legs. We're going to go back to chair, so make sure you've got the foot distance that's right for you and they're parallel. Inhale to your chair. Knees over ankles, draw belly in, sit down a little bit further. Take another inhale, reach up through the fingertips. And then as you exhale, fold all the way back through. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step right leg back. Outside of the foot comes down onto the mat, bending into the left leg. Inhale to your warrior one. Setting that up, draw belly in, sink into the left leg and press down through the outside of the right foot. Inhale to reach the hands. And as you exhale, we're going to bring the right elbow over the left, eagle arms, or take the shoulders. So which would be right there? Nice long deep breaths. And if it's eagle arms, you might lift elbows just a little, draw hands away from the head, connecting into that few breaths there. Make sure the fingertips are just pointing up, so you're not twisting into the wrists, feeling strong through the feet and the legs. Belly draws in each time you exhale. And then the next time that you inhale, reach the hands all the way up. We're going to step forward into that left leg. Feel that you're launching yourself up. Press through the right heel and fold from the hips. See if you can turn the toes, the right toes to the midline of the body, dropping that left hip. Draw up through the standing leg. Reach through the fingertips, through the sole of that right foot. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, step the right toes to the back of the mat. Release the hands down. Your vinyasa, or just pausing. Choose which is right. So really, in order to understand our limiting thoughts a little bit better, we can take a look at what they call the reptilian part of the brain. So this is the oldest part, and it's where we process threats to our safety and anything that to do with our survival. So it's basically you can think of it as the home of our fight, flight and freeze mode, that part of the nervous system that sends us into the red, and it's responsible for our negativity bias. So this bias means that we are wired to notice threats in our environment much more than opportunities. And this was really useful thousands of years ago. This is how our brain evolved, but it's not so useful now. So we can see the world as like a whole lot of obstacles to overcome, and that can create issues within the body, and it can create thoughts that don't allow us to really have that deep fulfillment and happiness within. So from your down dog, when you're ready, take an inhale to step or maybe hop the feet to the top of the mat. Back to your chair, so you're inhaling, make sure you've got the foot distance correct, inhaling to your chair, and then exhaling to come all the way back to stand. Just pausing for a moment there, draw belly in, lengthen tailbone. Feel yourself connecting down to the earth. So we'll do one more little flow and then we'll settle down onto the earth. So back to our chair, take an inhale, reaching the fingertips up. Belly draws in, tailbone lengthens, exhale, release all the way back down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, left leg steps back, press down through the foot. Inhale to your warrior one. And this time we'll exhale, straighten the right leg, draw the right hip back. Inhale to reach up through the fingertips. Keep the arms and the spine long as you reach forward, and then release the hands down. If you have a brick, it can be really useful at this point. It gives you a little bit of extra length. But fingertips either side of the foot works quite well as well. And each time you inhale, lengthen the crown of the head forward. And each time you exhale, draw that right hip back. And you might find you want to release the head towards the leg, the knee, or the shin perhaps. Maybe that's just plenty for you, so pretty strong in the back of the leg. But each time you breathe, you feel that there's like a tiny bit more movement in the body. It's like an internal drawing in, a drawing out, a lengthening, a releasing. See if you can just create some present moment awareness with this pose. And then the next time that you inhale, gaze forward, lift the heart back onto the fingertips. And as you exhale, plant the hands back down, step back, move through a vinyasa. Or just pause in your down dog. And then from your down dog, take an inhale to step or maybe hop the feet to the top of the mat. Find your half lift. Exhale, fold in. I'm going to go back to chair. Inhale, lift the hands up, sit the bottom down. Weight into the heels, wiggle the toes, draw belly in. Take an inhale. And exhale, release all the way through. Inhale, half lift. And we'll step back, right leg, setting up there to come into your warrior one. Inhale, reach forward. All the way up to the top. And then as you exhale, straighten that left leg. Inhale, reach through the fingertips. And then as you exhale, you're folding forward, but keep the spine long and the arms long. Really reach as much as you can. Take your time to come down. And then the hands down either side of the foot or you're on a brick. Inhale to find length. And exhaling, folding in over that leg, drawing the left hip back. Each exhalation. Head might release further over that leg. Few deep breaths here, really feeling that you can connect into that presence of what this pose feels like in this moment. Try not to judge. Try not to change anything. See if you can just accept being in this place just as it is. And then on your next inhale, come back onto the fingertips, gaze forward. Plant the hands down, vinyasa, or pause. So pausing in your down dog, your child's pose, whichever makes most sense, just for a few breaths here. And because of the way that our minds are wired, we're more likely to kind of focus on the negativity. And that will also include our thoughts. So it's worth remembering that our thoughts are vehicles for our emotions. They drive how we feel. So therefore, our happiness is going to affect our happiness as well. And in our modern day busyness, social media, with stress, with overwhelm, these negative thoughts can get louder and more frequent, almost like playing on repeat day after day, until they're so familiar that we think we are the thoughts, that we think that's who we are at our core. So when you're ready, from your down dog, come there if you're not there already, we're going to move into pigeon. So if you know pigeon doesn't work for you, you can do it on your back as well. So we're going to inhale, reach the right leg up. And then exhale, bring that knee either in between the two hands or the knee out to the right wrist. And then we'll lengthen that left leg. Come onto the fingertips. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And then as you exhale, soften your way down. But try to make sure that the hips don't kind of flop over to one side or the other. You might find something for the head to rest on, the hands, or maybe a pillow or a brick. Or you might just stay in cactus arms, elbows underneath the shoulders. That can be quite nice as well. And if you're on your back, the right ankle is across the left knee, and you're drawing that left knee in. Very similar posture, but you have a little bit more control over it than your pigeon. But wherever you are, just feel that you can soften into this place. So through my practice, I have found that there are kind of three main steps, I would say, to breaking free from those limiting thoughts so that we can enable happiness to really flourish and grow. And we will explore these much more over the 8 weeks, but really just to say the first step is creating that keen sense of awareness and curiosity towards our thoughts. So when we cultivate this awareness and curiosity, what I have found is that they start to change shape. They lose their power and they become less real. And then from here a perspective can grow. And we have a choice, and that's ultimately what it's about. We realize that we have a choice about what thoughts to focus on, and then how we respond to these thoughts. And of course, with choice comes freedom. And that freedom is to be who we want to be, show up in the world how we want to show up, and to have that deep sense of happiness and fulfillment within, regardless of what might be going on around us. You know, for me, just knowing that, even if it takes practice and time to get there, just knowing that that is possible, for me just feels really empowering and liberating. It doesn't mean that it will always be rose-tinted and flowers and lovely and joy. There will still be struggles, but you have a way of dealing with them, and that's the bit that I really love. So when you're ready, take an inhale, come back up onto the hands if you're in your full pigeon. If you're lying down, you can just gently release the legs, maybe move the knees side to side. And from your pigeon, you can press into the hands, come back to your down dog, or roll over to that right side. So whichever way that makes sense to come back out. And you might just, from your down dog, have a few wiggles side to side, just releasing that leg, or even giving the leg a shake. And then we'll move on to the other side. So you could inhale, lift left leg. Exhale to bring it forward. Lengthen that right leg. Move into a place that feels right on that side. It might be slightly different. You might come onto the fingertips at first. And then exhale, soften down. And again, just check in that you haven't just flopped over to one side. Because body might do that when it's trying to get away from the strong sensations. So try to stay central. I mean, never going into a place of pain or a place that you don't feel you can stay with, but just play around with that. And obviously if you're on your back, you're just swapping over. And I think our yoga practice it teaches us to be with maybe the stronger sensations. It teaches us to be with all of the thoughts and all of the emotions and not getting caught up in them. You know, even if this pigeon pose does feel really quite strong for you today, might be a lot going on, can you just slowly and gently, with compassion for yourself as well, just be with those sensations? And that's kind of the same idea with all of this, is just gently, with care, noticing what is there. So really the kind of second step is the acceptance. You know, it's our thoughts are a kind of natural part of being human, and obviously they're really useful at times. But when we allow these thoughts to be there and accept them for what they are, we can offer them and ourselves some compassion. We can know that these negative thoughts are just trying to protect us. That's how we have evolved. So just having that knowing that it's okay to be like that. It's okay to have that negativity. And then the third and final step just involves kind of orientating our mind away from the natural negativity bias. So focusing more on the wholesomeness, the positivity, moving away from fear, towards kind of compassion. Moving away from maybe anger or frustration into acceptance, into connection and gratitude. So over the next 8 weeks, I'm hoping that we can explore ways that we can do this, and ways that we can be with the positivity that is actually all around us. It's just because of the negativity bias that we don't always see it. So when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in. Come back onto the hands if you're in your pigeon pose. Slowly make your way out, and if you're lying down, you can just stay there, because we're all going to come down onto our backs for a twist. So you can just take your time to get there. If you're moving out of your pigeon, you might just couple of maybe movements side to side in your down dog, and then coming all the way down onto your back. And then shift the hips over to the right side a little, draw the knees into the chest, and then the knees to the right, stacking the knees and the hips, working the shoulder blades down into the mat, so left shoulder over to the left perhaps a little, right shoulder softening in. Take a few breaths there, and particularly focusing on the exhalation so that you can really release that down into the earth. And then when you're ready, inhaling to come back to the center. Shift the hips slightly over to the left. And then the knees to the right. And just adjust the shoulders if possible. You're trying to get both shoulder blades nestling down into the earth. But take your time, go easy. A few breaths there. And then when you're ready, inhaling to come back. Exhale, release the feet onto the mat, maybe moving knees side to side. And then settle yourself into Shavasana. Lengthening the legs, maybe bringing something under the knees, or just simply keeping the knees bent. Settle yourself in. Settle the body, settle the breath. And as we rest here, we can begin to explore our thoughts. So I invite you to pay attention to your thoughts in much the same way that you would with a dear friend. Just with interest, curiosity, and also openness. And just consider now, over the past few days or even today, where have your thoughts been taking you? Have your thoughts been focusing on the past or maybe the future? if they relate to the past, have they been happy reflections, ruminations, regrets? Or would you describe them in another way? And if your thoughts have been taking you into the future, have they felt like planning, strategizing, hoping, wanting, or maybe worrying? Or do other words come to mind when you consider your thoughts? And just see if you can notice. Noticing the quality of the thoughts. Without needing to change, or without needing to judge. Allowing. Is that possible? And you might observe what happens to your thoughts when you attend to them with that curiosity and that openness. Do they change? Do they feel less real? Maybe having less of a grip over you. And then bring your awareness back to your breath, feeling the ebb and flow of your breath, and inviting in a slightly deeper rhythm. Maybe a sigh as you exhale. And bringing movement into fingers, toes. Reaching maybe the hands overhead, stretching the toes long, drawing the knees back in. Just slowly and gradually come back to sit. Bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at the heart space, bowing down towards hands and heart. And I invite you to just be aware of your thoughts over the next few days and weeks. And if it calls to you, you could start a journal for this new program. Research has shown that it can increase our experience and our personal growth, can help us to just be more aware of what is there. You might just take literally 5-10 minutes from when you finish your practice. Write down any thoughts, any feelings, realizations, parts of yourself you would like to grow, or keep it close to you during the day and just write down any little happy moments. And just finally calling back in your sankalpa, your intention. Repeat it, positive, present tense. Or simply just a feeling. And then closing with one Om, take a deep breath in. Om. So thank you for your practice. Namaste. So thank you for joining me today. If you do have any questions, please do let me know. There are 3 other videos for this week, so I hope you enjoy. and I look forward to catching you up for week 2. Take care.